Hey guys, and welcome back to Hungry Skin Education. And we're going to jump into chapter 4 in the Foundations book. We're going to be studying for a state board. Your Foundations textbook is going to be your thinner Milady's textbook. It should be all black. So, chapter 4, the healthy professional. What does it take to be a healthy professional? So, just like we talked about in, I believe that was chapter 10, the beauty business, where I talked about where you need to work on yourself and be an example of what you want your clients to strive towards. Of course, your skin conditions are going to be different, but in the sense of wanting to take the time to take care of their skin, wanting to be your clients, not per se this part, but you just, wanting to look presentable if you do decide to be a business owner. So doing what you want your clients to do, doing what you want your employees to do, the ones that you want to attract if you do decide to be a business owner. Starting that with yourself and then branching out. This is the same thing. Being a good esthetician, being a good skincare therapist is going to start with yourself. Having good nutrition. This business, honestly, is from the inside out. There is not enough products you can put on a client's skin if they are not doing what they're supposed to do internally. If this person is continuously in a high level of stress, they're always going to have breakouts because they have to calm their freaking adrenal glands so it can stop stimulating their sebaceous glands and producing all of this oil. So they're going to have to learn maybe a practice of meditation, or maybe you can suggest some other form of calmness or stillness, maybe some sort of app of some sort. But all of your systems run together. They all run together. There is no separate systems. They all run together. So if you are continuously breaking out, you don't know why you're breaking out, you're going to have to sit down and say, okay, what is it? What is going on here? Why am I breaking out? Why is my psoriasis flaring up? Why am I getting eczema out of nowhere? So you're going to have to play detective with yourself. So that's starting with, good nutrition with yourself and then branching out to your clients. And then also, what is it like to have, proper hydration? So you know what, guys, let me just go over the objectives that you're supposed to have covered in your skincare class with your instructor. That way you'll see what supposed to have been covered, and anything that you did not cover, I would advise you to go back and cover those pieces. Just because, like I said in the previous two videos, I'm going to keep it really short. I'm going to stick really to the text because we're studying for a state board. I don't want to go too far-fetched from what the text says, because I want you to be able to recognize terms that you have seen and that you have heard while studying. So you should have been able to explain what does it mean to be a healthy professional? What does that mean? Like I talked about the nutrition piece a little bit. What does that mean? Discuss nutritional needs in a beauty context. So of course, nutritional needs, that's a very broad statement, but like it said, in the context of the beauty industry, what does that look like? Practicing proper hydration. Guys, you got to make sure you're drinking enough. You do not understand. Making that statement made me grab my bottle of water, but you do not understand how thirsty you're going to get. One, it's a transference of energy, and you're constantly going to be moving from client to client. So if you cannot take a break to get something to eat, which you should be putting that into your day, have bottles of water. People always make fun of me because they're like, who are you baptizing with your water? Whatever, I don't care. But I love to have a big bottle of water because I always know I'm not going to be thirsty. So practicing proper hydration. Describe how immunity keeps your body safe. What options do you have for immunity to keep your body in homeostasis so that it's not out of whack and dealing with disease, or disease as it is known. Explain when to take a sick day. When is it take a time out? When is it okay to say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do this particular day. I might have to reschedule my clients. I might need to rework my schedule, so that I maybe can get to yoga on a different day, so that I can still see my clients. But I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. So that I can still get to yoga, so I can get my peace of mind, and so that I also can still see my clients as well. Because a sick day doesn't always have to mean physically sick. A sick day could just mean that I need to stretch my freaking body. I look at a sick day as I need to organize my thoughts. I need to tap out for a second. That's why as I'm developing my spa, meditation is very important for everyone that's a part of my team. Because meditation is not something that you do when you do need to tap out. It's something that you do daily, so that you don't need these taps out. You know how to recalibrate and bring yourself back together. So also identifying common beauty professional health issues. Knowing you got to know. That's why I said no. I can't even talk. That's why I said I wanted to break these chapters down to more of a conversation, so it makes sense. I believe that most schools are the same, as I've learned from going to school and then working at schools. They're all the same. They start out kind of like in the middle, to me, of where a student esthetician should be. And this is looking at it from the perspective of being a student and also being an educator. And I wanted to make it more of a conversation, because, like I said, when you're first initially looking at an industry you want to enter into, you want to know what is it like, what is it going to be like. So you don't really get a chance to talk to students like you would do at a college day. I mean, you might be able to. I don't know what schools you might have been to, but they're not going to really give you the full scope. Just like, at a 4-year university, they're not going to really give you the full scope either. But you have more time to be able to sit with them, to be able to exchange conversation, and kind of really gather a little bit more feedback from, what you heard, the energy you felt, and so forth. So that's why I wanted to make this more of a conversation, because I said all of that to say, you may decide that you want to get into this industry, and then decide that you don't want to deal with barbicide. Barbicide is something that you're going to need to clean your implements with. And now you've already paid for your seat in your class, and now you've decided, hey, this is not something I think I want to partake in. This is not something I think I want to pursue. And you're past that financial aid or just a reimbursement deadline. So knowing the common beauty professional health and issues. Protecting yourself with proper body mechanics. How do you protect yourself with proper body mechanics? Are you sitting the proper way? Are your things aligned and easily accessible? Do you have to keep getting up to do things and get things in the middle of your service? Recognizing the challenges posed by pregnancy. And that's not just by your client, because what if you're doing a Brazilian on a pregnant client, or what if you're doing a facial on a pregnant client? Those are some things that you have to think about, because those clients cannot lay as long or in the same position as your typical client that is not pregnant. And also with yourself. I was pregnant twice while being in this industry. I've been in this industry a little shy of 10 years, and being pregnant can be a bit of a challenge, especially when I was waxing. I don't think as much as when I was doing facials. Probably when I was a little bit more out of breath doing body treatments. But yeah, it was different. No one prepared me for that part. No one didn't say like, hey, look here, you may not be doing, strenuous work like working in a factory, but it's going to be a bit of a challenge, when you are pregnant, trying to continuously lift and stoop and stand, day to day. So let's jump right into the glossary. All right. So like I said, you have two different options. So not two different options, but there's two different ways to have acquired immunity. And that is, I'm sorry, to have immunity. And let's start here. What is immunity? The immunity is going to be the ability for the body to resist and destroy pathogens and respond to infection. So immunity is how your body's defense mechanism. That's the easiest way to think about that. Your body's defending itself from something else that's trying to attack it. So how does the body get this immunity? So the text says, there's two ways. There's acquired immunity and then there's natural immunity. So what is going to be this acquired immunity? The acquired immunity is something that you're going to obtain or developed after overcoming a disease or through some type of what is the term I'm looking for? Inoculation. Inoculation is going to be like your vaccinations, your flu vaccinations. Now we're in the middle of COVID, your coronavirus, virus, can't even talk, vaccinations, or just through exposure through natural allergens, such as like your pollen, your dandruff, or like your ragweed, things being exposed to things like that. And as your body, the idea is that as your body gets exposed to that over a repetitive or a continuous period of time, it's going to get immune to that. So that's what is considered like an acquired immunity. So what is your natural immunity? Your natural immunity is going to be your immunity that is going to be partly inherited and partly developed through healthy living. So that's why I say, guys, healthy living, making good healthy decisions is always a benefit for us, not just us, but also for our clients, because no client wants to come in and you have an infection of some sort going on. I mean, we wear masks now and face shields, but you're breathing on them. At one point in time, we had, we're breathing directly on top of the client. But even now, they don't want to be exposed to someone that's potentially sick. And not even talking about corona, but just, because there's germs outside of that. So that's immunity, and that's the two ways that you get immunity and will become immune to certain things. So how do you perform a patch test? Let's talk about a patch test. So a patch test is going to be a test for identifying a possible allergen in a client, also known as a predisposition test. So why would you need to do a patch test? You may need to do a patch test for certain wax. Maybe clients are allergic to certain ingredients that might be in your wax. Patch test for certain products. Maybe your client is allergic to peanuts, but maybe not allergic to tree nuts. But you don't want to take a chance, so you want to do a patch test on that particular client. The next term that I want to get into is ergonomics. What are ergonomics? Let's jump into that. That's going to be, remember we talked about having proper body mechanics. That's going to be the science of designing your workplace as well as the equipment and the tools to make specific body movements more comfortable, efficient, and safe. So guys, that's why I said if you're a hot towel, I remember working in a spa and the hot towel cabinet was above me. And mostly during my facials, I do stand. But as I started to do them for a period of time, I wanted to sit. Or I have periods where I may sit, stand, or whatever the case may be. As I started to sit more frequently, I noticed how big of a nuisance that was, not just for myself, but I noticed my clients became a little bit more fidgety during those periods that I had to get up off the stool to get a towel. Also, another thing was I had to rearrange. But this had wheels, so it wasn't necessarily more of a nuisance as the towel cabinet being so far away was. But the wax cart, I had to bring it a little bit closer to me. I had to move the mag lamp and the steamer out of the way so that I could perform a Brazilian wax, because I had to have the client flip around. And if their knees, if they're in a frog position, their knees would bump up against the equipment. So I had to move the equipment around. So you want to make sure that you have your equipment, your supplies, everything you need right at your fingertips. You don't want to be overextending yourself. You don't want to have to keep getting up and down. You want everything to be exactly where you are during your service. And I tell that to my clients. I mean, not my clients. I tell that to my students so much is that, hey guys, if you're going to be using soft wax, bring the soft wax to you. Put a paper towel or a towel. If your client is going to be in the frog position, put a paper towel down, put a towel down, put all of your supplies on that. That way you're not cross-contaminating any germs from the bedding onto your supplies. Bring your supplies to you. Bring. That's why I say no. And I also tell my students, know how much you're going to need for each service so that you're not overusing products that you can't put back into your containers, because now you're putting all those microorganisms back into that particular container. Okay. That's a different video for a different time, or a different time for a different video. So just having all your things where you need them to be. So that was ergonomics. The next one that I want to hop into is allergens. What are going to be your allergens? So allergens is considered by the text, because remember, we're sticking to the text as closely as possible because we're studying for state board. Hypersensitivity disorders of the immune system. Allergies, hypersensitivities, disorders of the immune system. So something that's irritating the immune system, causing an irritation. That's simple. So what are some things, or something that is given to someone to combat some type of pathogen of some sort is an antibiotic. And antibiotics are substances that kill or slow down the growth or the bacteria and other microorganisms. So that's why it's good to take a probiotic, as well as I suggest also in a prebiotic, just so that you can balance out those good bacteria, because, antibiotics get rid of all of microorganisms because they want to clear the way of any type of pathogens in the body. Nutrients, because that's everything else going to fall under nutrients. So what is a nutrient? When someone says that this is very nutritious, or this does not have any nutritional value to something, so what is going to be nutritions? So nutrients is going to be things that you put in your mouth that your body can process and assimilate and utilize them. So assimilating, meaning that they can taking the food fully, break it down, and take what it needs from it. So that will be something that has some nutritional value to it. Something that is of no nutritional value, there's nothing to assimilate there. There's nothing to utilize. So there's just processing and then, pooping it out. It's nothing really to even to hold on to. So that is what nutrients are. So what are going to be your carbohydrates? Your carbohydrates are going to be your nutrients needed for energy to run every function within your body. So that's why it's important to get good healthy carbohydrates like nuts. I don't think I was going to say avocado, but I think that's the fats that's in there that we can use. But if it is a carbohydrate, that will be considered like a healthy one. Things that have like carbohydrates and like a waste of time are going to be like corn. Corn has no nutritional value in it. However, it has carbs in it. What are fats? Nutrients needed for many body functions, including hormones, sebum production, and absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. And that's going to be your A, D, E, and K. So if you're taking vitamins A, D, E, or K, you're taking them orally, you're just taking them by mouth with water with no fat with it, it's not going to really be as efficient as it should be, because it's a fat-soluble vitamin, meaning it is absorbed by your fat. What else? Minerals. What are going to be your minerals? Minerals are your nutrients used by your cells. They're going to produce important biochemicals that have many body functions. Proteins. Let's jump into your proteins. Proteins are always fun. I like peptides. Nutrients, important for building muscle and blood tissue and for cell repair and replacement. That's why I say I love protein, because protein that's what your skin's gonna need when you see those ingredients with peptides in them, or in products with ingredients with peptides in them. Look at them. What other ingredients do complement them or accompany them? And is that a good product that you can implement into your back bar or into your retail space or into your own personal regimen? Because peptides do great wonders for the skin. So how about your vitamins? What are vitamins? Vitamins are going to be your nutrients required for many body functions to occur, including normal metabolism. So metabolism is the breaking down and the building up of that, of the cell. So let's jump into a few vitamins. I'm not going to get into too many, but vitamin A. Vitamin A, you're going to love vitamin A. That's going to be one of your number one vitamins that you're going to use and need as a skincare therapist. It's going to support the overall health of the skin. It's going to aid in the skin health, the function, and the repair of the skin cells. It has been shown to improve the skin's elasticity and the thickness of it. Vitamin C. Let's see, vitamin C. Vitamin C, I love that. I think of the sunshine vitamin because it brings brightness. An important substance needed for proper repair of the skin and tissues. Vitamin C is going to promote the production of the collagen in the skin's dermal tissues. It's also going to aid in and promote the skin's healing process. Vitamin D. Vitamin D enables the body to properly absorb and use calcium, which is the element needed for proper bone development and maintenance. Vitamin D also promotes rapid healing of the skin. So vitamin D and vitamin C work very well together. Also when they're paired with vitamin A, because that also helps with repairing the skin, that they just work really well together. Vitamin E does great too if your client is drier, but if they're oily, vitamin E, you'll get a reverse reaction for that. So vitamin E is going to help protect the skin from harmful effects of sun's UV light. So if you would say, hey, Lakia, you just said that, vitamin E wouldn't be that great for oily skin, but it sounds like to me the benefit is great for everyone. Vitamin E is a little bit heavier on a molecular level, so that's not really going to be very good for oily skin because it's going to clog the pores more so than help benefit the pore or the skin, if that makes any sense. So water, good old H2O, makes up 50 to 75% of the body's weight and is necessary for virtually every function of the cell in the body. Guys, I tell my students, I tell my clients, I remind myself, if the cells don't have water, they cannot function properly. I remember there was a time I had a student in the lab and she had a clay mask on her client's cheeks. I understood the idea of what she was doing, and I explained that to her when I walked over to her bedside, and I said to her, hey, that mask is actually done its job. It's finished. Because what she was trying to do was shrink the pores because the client's pores had been extended because it had been compacted with dirt, debris, dead skin cells, oil, just some type of impaction of some sort. So I understood the idea of what she was trying to do, but as I mentioned to her, it was done doing what it was supposed to have been doing because now at this point it's dehydrating it. And when the skin does not have water, it tries to make up with sebum. And if your client is a oily client, and if the clients are already been extended and stretched due to it being compacted with whatever it is, some type of debris of some sort, you don't want them to produce more oil. You're trying to balance it, but it's going in the adverse direction. It's going in a different direction. So you have to be mindful of that when you're working with products and you're taking away the client's natural moisture. You don't want to do that. You want to add more moisture to the skin, not take away. This chapter was very simple. It was very straight to the point. So you learned about what is it like to be in this beauty business. That was chapter 10. Chapter 9 talked about on the job. What is it like working on a job? How are you going to get trained? How do you get compensated? How do you call out? How do you split your commission? How do you book your clients? How do clients book with you? And then chapter 4. Chapter 4 was down. Now you know what is it like to be in the business, what it's like to be on the job, how you interview for the job, how you get the job. Now you're there. Now you need to take care of yourself. So now you need to take care of yourself. Now you're within the industry. And that was chapter 4. Chapter 4 was talking about the healthy beauty professional. So our next chapter is going to be chapter 1 is also going to be in this same book. the Foundations book, it's going to be talk about life skills. What are some life skills that you need now that you're in this industry? Now you know how to be healthy, but what life skills are you going to need to keep yourself afloat, to keep yourself going? And I will see you guys in chapter 1.